After dawn, the sun briefly does something strange, dimming for a moment. In New Zealand, Zac wakes drenched in sweat at a motel and immediately senses something is off with the daylight outside. The radio gives him nothing but static, and even the clock seems frozen until he taps it back to life. No one answers at the front desk. Driving off, he stops for gas but can't find a single attendant. The station is deserted, a coffee pot is nearly scorched dry, and a locked bathroom turns out to be empty despite the locked door. The road ahead is littered with cars that have simply been left behind. He tries a nearby house next, breaking in through a window when no one responds, only to find a flooding, unattended boiler and an eerily undisturbed breakfast tray, but not a single person. The pattern repeats through crashed cars, a plane wreck with no bodies, and finally his own workplace, a satellite research station, completely empty. Every attempt to reach anyone, other stations, landlines, fails. 141-343, a fax left behind, confirms that Project Flashlight proceeded as planned. Heading into the basement lab, Zac fins a computer reporting the project's completion, and then discovers a co-worker's body slumped in a chair, badly disfigured. The corpse triggers a radiation alarm, sealing the lab and trapping Zac inside with the elevator locked. With no help coming from administration, he improvises an escape, rigging a burner and gas tanks to blow a hole in the ceiling. Before detonating it, he listens to a recording left by his dead co-worker, who admits the team had been kept in the dark by their superiors, and Zac adds his own message, explaining the project failed and that he seems to be the last person alive. He escapes just as the explosion tears the roof open. Back in the city, he tries everything to draw out survivors, broadcasting his info over the radio, painting giant signs, driving a stolen police car with a loudspeaker. Nothing works, days pass, and Zac spirals into drinking and destructive behavior. 343-542. 5 days on, Zac has moved into a lavish mansion, filled with looted museum art, drinking champagne each morning. He raids a mall, smashing into shops, trying on clothes, playing with toy trains, which inspires him to ride an actual train for hours just to pass the time. Alone in the mansion, he plays pool against himself, invents characters to talk to, and in a strange, emotional moment, tries on women's clothing from a closet. Watching an old government tape about maintaining global power pushes him into a rage. He shoots the television, accidentally firing into the ceiling too. His paranoia deepens, and he begins to see himself as the one meant to take charge of what's left. He wires speakers throughout the property, decorates the lawn with cutouts of world leaders, and delivers a mock presidential address from the balcony, declaring himself ruler of the empty world before breaking down in tears as the power cuts out. 542-733. Zac later storms a church with a gun, demanding someone show themselves, then shoots apart a statue of Jesus and takes an axe to a bank of computers, proclaiming himself God. Driving a truck through a gas station, he narrowly runs over what turns out to be an empty stroller. The relief nearly breaks him. As the station catches fire, he considers ending his life, but stops after hearing the explosion. Eventually, he installs a generator to restore power to the house. On a supply run, a noise startles him, and while investigating, he later hears strange sounds again, this time discovering Joanne, another survivor, pointing a gun at him. Once she realizes he's not a threat, the two embrace, overwhelmed simply to have found another person. Over dinner, they trade stories. She describes finding a corpse of a baby that had clearly been dead for weeks, despite the disaster only recently occurring, and he shares his theory that reality itself may be broken. St. 33-9-31. The next day, they search together, encountering a grim crash scene and a woman who appears to have survived the initial event, only to die trying to call for help. Zac checks the sky for unusual solar activity, but finds nothing conclusive. That night, over dinner, Joanne suggests other survivors might simply be too afraid to come out of hiding. They split up the next day to cover more ground, staying in contact by radio, but turn up nothing at the hospital, prison, or library. Zac reveals that the mysterious project was American-led, using a global energy grid meant to let aircraft fly without refueling, technology Joanne calls playing God. Zac isn't convinced the project is to blame, sparking a tense disagreement, though he comforts her afterward. The next morning makes clear they've become a couple. 9/31/11/18. Racing their cars for fun, they eventually separate to keep searching. Zac concludes that the fabric of reality has become unstable. Trying to get back to town, he's blocked by a truck, and out steps another survivor, who disarms and questions him before letting his guard down, once Joanne turns up too. Introductions lead to a name. The newcomer is called Appy, and the three now travel together. Around a campfire that night, Appy recounts a near-death experience. He was drowned during a fight with a friend, felt his spirit leave his body, and was somehow pulled back, right as the global event occurred. Joanne realizes, hinting he may have been dying too, leading the group to theorize that surviving required already being at death's edge. After a warm evening of music and dancing, Joanne wakes to find Appy gone, only to discover him grieving quietly at a grave. Later, Appy notices the sun's fluctuations are worsening and could cause it to collapse within days. 11:18, p.m. Tension arises when Joanne learns Appy once killed a friend's wife, calling it necessary, shaking her trust in him. Later tries to talk to Joanne. She rebuffs him and tells him to take his concerns to Appy instead, deepening the rift. An argument escalates into a physical scuffle. Zac flees. Joanne refuses to ride with him and steals a car of her own to follow. During the chase, Appy learns from a recording that the energy grid is directly destabilizing the sun. He forces Zac off the road, and in the ensuing confrontation, Zac confesses he'd suspected the project was flawed for a year, but stayed silent. Guilt he's been carrying ever since, which is why he tried to end his life the night everything changed. The three reconcile enough to raid a military depot for explosives, planning to destroy the energy grid at its source. Zac begins to doubt the other two are even real, suspecting he's hallucinating them. 114 truck blocking a narrow bridge forces Appy to ram it aside to clear the path. Personal drama simmers as Joanne and Appy grow closer, leaving Zac increasingly isolated. When it's time to send an unmanned truck packed with explosives into the radioactive lab zone, Zac sends the others away, then secretly wires himself to the truck instead of using remote control, driving it in himself. He detonates the explosives at the source of the disaster, sacrificing himself. The film closes on him waking alone on a beach, gazing at an alien-ringed planet rising above unfamiliar clouds.